What's up? Did I speak to you today? I hope so. Did you understand my topic and what I was talking about? Maybe you didn't. Unless I come up again with another topic that I know is overwhelming. Because sometimes I talk about things that are relevant. I've been a critic of West and I have been a sympathizer of East somehow. And I've been trying to think and consider continent because continent is everything, and if you cannot survive in the continent, then you cannot survive anywhere else in this world. One thing I want to talk about is why is it so difficult for we Africans to come together and try to minimize the cost of doing international network of doing business. We have to consider two things here. One thing, an African company, it's very difficult for it to penetrate European markets, particularly technological and innovation sector. Like as I was saying, we need to be innovative to try to protect our data and store it here in Africa, whereby we have a clear continental policy that actually gives us an inch when it comes to protecting what is coming out of our vaults or our minds, because data is input of what you think, and once you put it into the system protects it and you will not get it as you think. Today, if you try to look at policies we have, particularly in Africa, in regards to trying to safeguard the interests of Africa, they're very volatile, and polarization has taken place, and people who think that they can be able to give us an upper hand in trying to establish how we can go about some of these things, they are reluctant to come in front and tell us, guys, we know we are failing in one way or the other, but we can try at least to be so, in our own way, but we are lacking the capacity to do that. Data is very important, and I will always keep on blogging about data for some time. I vowed to keep the people updated, and I decided to at least produce 100 serious videos concerning data policy. And I don't want to, you have been taught by people how to produce and generate data, but nobody is coming to give people insight on how to protect their data. And data is business, data is money. I'm not talking about the token you go and reload your phone. I'm talking about raw information, input, what you go and sit down in front of a smartphone, in front of a computer, and you type it, and then you just give it an authority to be known by the people, what you're thinking, your activities, what you do. By the end of the day, someone knows today there was about 1 million people who are looking or who are thinking this way. That is being generated by the artificial intelligence system. And that pattern is programmed to understand you and you not to understand it. But remember, you are the one who give it the authority because it was illiterate. The system was illiterate until you taught it how to program you. Right now, if you're developing some apps, they will have a limitation in terms of penetration in the global market, simply because the people who are the custodian of iCloud facilities, they are always very naive. You have to meet their condition and they have to access every single information that you're generating. If you have a banking infrastructure that is affiliated to the way you deal with your data, definitely, I'm very sure you are exposed. Today, all the banking systems, they are interconnected. So what you do, you log into those apps, and then those cookies, they correct your information. They analyze. Data analytics is a very serious thing. And by the end of the day, definitely they know in this region 150,000 transaction took place and 2.5 billion US dollars worth of transactions took place in this region. So the system really understands even an inch of every single work or thought generated as long as it passed through a computer system. It is known, and it has guided someone, or it has guided someone with greater or deeper knowledge on how the data network works. Today, if you facilitate to create a policy to protect your data, there's going to be a very big problem. And this, I'm very much concerned about Africa. I'm not concerned about Europe because Europe has a very fair data protection policy because they own the resources. The resources that are crowding this data, they are hosted in their countries. So European Union must have a very, very comprehensive and very user-friendly and government protected policy that is guiding how data is leaving Europe. Because I'm very sure data that is stored in Europe doesn't leave Europe. European data doesn't leave Europe. And to be very precise, if it is Germany, they have their own policy. The custodian of their data doesn't leave the country. Why? Because of the competitiveness of the market. Same happens to France. All those countries, they have got their own data policy. Then they have got an overseer policy that is guiding the European nations. Likewise, in the United States, the data in United States doesn't leave United States. Because most of the tech companies, they are multi-international, they are based in United States. So their data policy is very clear. You cannot trade American data outside the United States. China is doing the same thing. So what about Africa? Who is going to protect our data? Because most of these data centers, they are in Europe. Africa is very hot. We cannot have data centers because we don't have the cooling system and the weather itself cannot allow. Unless maybe a place like South Africa, where they have maybe substations for the iCloud systems. But data, who is storing it? You develop the apps, you develop the operating systems, then you develop the iCloud software storage facilities. So you own everything. You own everything. What we think, you have it. But me, I don't have what you think. And the system itself you have created is trying to guide me on how to live now. We are living this digital age. Fourth industrial revolution has taken over. So the system itself is guiding me on how to live. And then we as Africans, what are we perceiving? What are we expecting? If we cannot have protection of our own data, someone is taking care of the data, then we have to be very clear on the policies. Otherwise, the moment people will wake up and realize we have been traded and everything is gone, it will be too late. Caribbeans, they are fooled that their data is safe. There is no clear data policy in South America. Same to Africa. Eastern Asia, apart from those developed countries like Taiwan, Singapore, and Malaysia, some countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, I know and I'm very sure they are not aware of the data policy. Data policy is very important. Data is money, and those people who are doing mining of the data, they know the custodian of the data is aware of their mining behavior. But the consumerism is pushed through establishing a core source of classified data, which is very rare to know how it works unless you are in computer data science, which I know not many people are in that field. Keep on subscribing to the channel. Next week, I'll come up with another comprehensive statement whereby I will give you point by point on the importance of data safety. Clarity and classification of the data is very critical. Today, it is very essential for you to hold your data. Let no one fool you. You are traded. Point blank. I know who you are, where you are, your activities, your interest, because you are not careful. The policy is not clear, And I will leave it at that. Think about it, subscribe to the channel.